Okay, what I'm going to do is walk you through on how I created some of my promos for the Does store. Now, first off, we'll go into render settings, just into general, go custom, and we'll say do a HD version. Okay. Other things I like to change, this to 0.9 to give it a sharper filter. Make sure your progressive rendering is turned off there. And we'll jump into the viewport. Next, what we'll do is we need to select a background for the dinosaurs to be swimming around in. So under the environmental tab, we are going to select a background. Now I've got a couple of freebies up at my ArtStation place, and so we're going to choose one of these for it. So I'm going to say let's choose this one, number 6. So we'll choose backdrop, browse. We're going to and choose number 6. Okay, so that's looking very nice. The next thing we'll do is obviously load in one of our creatures. So content library. What are we going? The mosasaurs. There we go. This guy here. So we'll just double click him. He'll load up into our viewport. We'll apply one of the poses to him. So we'll come back to the pose library. Let's see. We'll try the dive one. Make sure you've got your mosasaur selected. And maybe we'll zoom in back a bit too. Next fella we'll load in is our bulldog fish. This is all part of the Sea Creatures pack. So I might give him another colour. Just render settings, no. We'll give him the red one, and we'll also apply a pose to him as well. Right, we'll put on the escape one pose on him. And we'll also rotate him around. If he looks a little too big, we'll just we'll scale him down a bit. Now also I'm going to say we need some lighting. That's, as you can see, there's a bright spot just there. So we need to have some light coming from there. And to me, some of the best way to do that is you create your own geosphere. This guy here. We'll go into surfaces, sphere. That doesn't really matter that much anyway. But you'll go all the way down to emissive. And we'll put that to white. And we'll put in KCD meters per square. And already you can see the light coming off it there. Now don't worry too much about this being in the actual picture. Because we're gonna render this separately. So now it gives the illusion that the light's coming from that direction. Right, so now we may and I think that's not too bad actually. We'll move the mosasaur up a little bit and you'll see why because we don't want the background interfering with right, so now you've got your render all set up. What I'm going to suggest to do is probably which it doesn't make sense now, is turn the visibility off of the background in the render, because we're going to composite this on top of the background, so we can fade these guys in and out to give the illusion that it's actually in the water. So okay, we'll just hit the render button. Okay, now that's finished rendering. The one thing I made a mistake with was I didn't turn off the ground, and obviously you can't have ground when you're underwater, so we need to do that again. Also, I'm going to add a camera and use a perspective camera, accept, change that to camera. We'll go into render settings, environment, draw ground, we'll turn that off so you won't get any shadows when you render it again. We'll also save the scene, obviously for later use if we want to redo this again. And just re-render it. Okay, so that's finished rendering, and we've also got no shadows on the ground, so it's going to be much easier. We'll save this guy out now. Tutorial. And obviously transparent PNG. Save. Okay, save again, and when we open up again, we'll be inside Photoshop. Okay, here we are in Photoshop. I'll just drop and drag in the render in. I'll also get the background. I'll drop and drag that in as well. I'll just drop and drag that one straight in. I think I had this a little bit too. Right, that should be alright. Whoops. And we'll just drop that below the other layer. So what we want to do is, first thing we want to do is just delete this guy out for a start. Oh, make that a harder brush and just get rid of that. Obviously that's sort of our light source there. We can move these guys around a little bit as well. Okay, so now that we've got these guys in place, we'll just rasterize this so it's a proper background. There's a couple of ways you can do this. One, we can just put color on it, but I wouldn't suggest doing that because yeah, it makes it look it drowns out their color. Hue it's okay, but what I'm going to say we do is we just simply fade these in, and this gives the illusion that it's actually in the water, and that's just really basic stuff. You can muck around with the lighting too, get your dodge tools, say, and give it a better light source there, so it interacts like with the lighting. But that's basically all I did with my promos. I didn't render out any fancy fog or anything like that. All it is just putting these guys with a underwater background and just tweaking the opacity to how far back you want. So that concludes the tutorials, and I hope you look forward to seeing you guys what you all come up with. Thanks again.